Good morning, and thank you for the opportunity to speak to you about my concerns regarding Supplementary Order Paper 59. I've got 5 main points and a recommendation, and I'll speak to all of these. Firstly, birth certificates. As many other submitters have said, birth certificates are historical records. They are a record of information, including the sex of the child, which is observed and recorded at birth. They do not, and they never have, recorded gender, and it is not the purpose of a birth certificate to recognise gender. It is a fiction, it's a lie, it's a deception to say that a person born female who wishes to live as and be recognised as a man was born male. There is no place for fiction on a document which is a historical record of fact. And I do not believe that life decisions or legal processes or good legislation should be based on fiction, lies, or deception. Secondly, sex and gender are different. To change the sex on a person's birth certificate because they are living as the opposite sex is a nonsense. Wishing to live and be recognised as the opposite sex doesn't mean that one is the opposite sex. For some birth certificates, to record a change in sex because a person identifies as a different gender means that no birth certificate can be guaranteed to be accurate. So we either have to completely remove sex information on all birth certificates, or we have to find another way to provide transgender people with a foundation document that doesn't show their biological sex. Putting false information on a historical record is not the way to do that. Sex is immutable. Humans are mammals. We're a dimorphic species, male and female, and a very, very small proportion, less than 2%, who are intersex. Differences of sexual development are simply variations within these two categories. They don't mean that there's a 3rd or 4th or 10th or 20th sex. And furthermore, there is absolutely no link between people who identify as transgender and those who have differences of sexual development. So the whole idea is completely irrelevant to trans identification generally and to sex self-identification in particular. You cannot identify out of the sex that you are, and your preferences do not have reality-making power. Thirdly, legal identification. No other group of people in society can self-identify into a different legal identity. Refugees, those who wish to become residents and citizens or obtain work permits, all have to go through legal processes and meet certain criteria which have to be objectively verified. Why should it be different for a trans person? Why should they have a right that no other group of people have? Fourthly, making good legislation. In the last government, Minister Tracy Martin deferred the BDMRR bill because the Crown Law Office provided advice that the self-identification clauses would benefit from clarification and that deferring the bill will allow for more comprehensive consideration of the legal implications of this issue. In addition, Minister Martin received advice from the DIA, which said that because a birth certificate involves core identity information, any potential law change has wide-ranging implications. The issues raised by the Crown Law Office and the DIA have not gone away. Neither have they been addressed. You do not make good legislation by ignoring the advice of the specialists to whom you're paying good money to give you that advice. I urge the Select Committee to go back to the drawing board and address the issues raised by the Crown Law Office and the Department of Internal Affairs. Why would you put through legislation when you've been told by the experts, your experts, the people that you employ, that it's going to create significant problems? Fifthly, unintended consequences. I have absolutely no doubt that the people who drafted these proposed changes had the best interests of trans people at heart. However, they gave no thought to unintended consequences and to the lack of safeguards for women and children. Many other submitters have gone into detail on this, and I will not repeat what they have said. I simply urge you to listen to them and to look at what has happened overseas. Finally, my recommendation. There are significant unintended consequences which will follow this legislation if it is passed. These are entirely predictable and they have been pointed out to you clearly and frequently. I believe these changes are so profound and will have such consequences that a commission of inquiry or a royal commission is needed to thoroughly examine the issues and to make expert and unbiased recommendations to take Aotearoa New Zealand forward. Thank you.